So I want to talk about dimensions, that there are so many different dimensions that are parallel, that are working on the same platform, the same 3D platform that we are living in. And you can see the dimensions go all the way from the soul level, which is living in paradise. You're living in heaven on earth. And it's a state of mind, it's a state of consciousness. And when you could call it a vibration. It's you could compare it to a spectrum, and it goes all the way down to living a life in this same platform of hell on earth, like you're living in a living hell. And there's all the different grades in between hell and in between heaven. And all of these different parallel dimensions are different stages of consciousness, different awareness levels, different focus levels. It's like you could see it as a spectrum of black to white. All the way from black goes all the way through all the different levels of gray, all the way up to pure white. And you can see the collective consciousness is just like most things, is in the center, is somewhere. The most of society is somewhere in between, a life that isn't quite hell, but it isn't quite heaven. So it's good enough. And it's kind of like um, good enough to where you don't want to shake things up because it could be worse, but you don't reach for something better because you're afraid of the worst. And the thing with consciousness is that because we are vibrational beings and we are cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect. We are also putting out a vibration, but we're also receiving vibrations. So when you get into this collective consciousness, and you get in the thick of it. It's like getting in a pool. It's like when you take, you get into a pool that is at a certain temperature, all of the temperature evens out. So the temperature of the pool, it's kind of like, it's not really a good example of it, but you get what I'm saying. It's kind of like if everybody is vibrating at a certain vibration and you get stuck right there in the center of it, you start becoming similar. Like your vibration becomes in sync with all of your surroundings. So you come in. It's just like a big. And because we are constantly also affecting our surroundings, but we're also being affected by our surroundings. So if we are one drop in the ocean, then and we are dropped into that ocean, we're going to become more likely like the ocean. The more we surround ourselves with certain types of people, we're going to become more like those types of people. It takes a lot of inner knowing and kind of like a waking up to be able to separate yourself from the collective consciousness. And you kind of see it as like a spectrum, as like there are people that are living a complete hell on earth. They're living in the dimension of hell, and these spirals in their minds keep them locked in that perspective. And there are people that are living in complete heaven on earth. Where you are just connected to the beauty of life, and that's all you see. And that is also a spiral that it feeds itself, because as you see beauty, you become beauty. The more beauty you see, the more you're adjusted to seeing the beauty, and the more beauty that you will see all around you. The more that you have a light perspective and you expect to see the good, the more good that you see, and the less you see the other things. They completely fall out of your existence because you don't even see them anymore. They become non-relevant to you. They become not in synchronicity with your being and the way that you are and what you are able to perceive. it becomes further and further away from your consciousness. Now, with let's say, for an example, um, so now there's a war going on, and I feel like I live in a completely different dimension from it. I live in a different space, a different vibration from it. It's not that I don't know or oblivious or hiding my head in the sand. I know what's going on. I can feel the pain of it, but I choose not to be in that whirlwind. And let's say when I go into town and I meet other people, and I see the state of stress. I see that the state of it, it is completely out of sync of where I am. I can be an observer of it. It's like there's this and if you look all around, you see this is what's real. When you get into the now, when you get into the moment, whatever is in the moment is the only thing that's real. Everything else is only in your perception, is only in your mind. So if 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 I choose to constantly be in those mindset and in that and feeding into that, the collective consciousness is creating more of that. Whereas if the collective consciousness would collectively pull out of it and come into a place of heaven on earth, that consciousness wouldn't exist anymore. So it's kind of like every dimension. You could say that, oh, that person, they're living with your head in the sand. It's not that. It's that we create the dimensions by giving them power. So if the collective is giving power to the matrix and creating the war and creating all of the horrible things that are going on by giving them more power and being fearful of them. A lot of times it's like being fearful of something is the same thing as accepting it. It's giving it power. It's allowing it to come into your life and affect your life. If an imminent danger comes into my life, I am going to see it. I'm going to, and it'll be relevant at that point. But right now, with me sitting on the side of the mountain and watching the birds, it is not relevant and it is not part of my existence. It doesn't really exist. Um, Other than the power that we give it. And now I understand that there's a way of looking at it, but yeah, but it did happen, but all of these things, yes, but it's not happening at this point right now. And as a collective consciousness, if we didn't give it power and we didn't, the media didn't keep bringing it up and giving it more power and then making the people more fearful and making the people more the consciousness, it's creating like this spiral, this whirlwind of like this consciousness that feeds itself. It keeps going around and around and feeding itself and becoming more the more people are in that consciousness, the stronger that consciousness and that vibration becomes, because we are constantly cause and effect. We're constantly affecting those around us and being affected, affecting and being affected, affected and being affected. So if we allow ourselves, then we come completely out of our own unique being, and there is the capability and there is the dimension of heaven on earth where everything is just simple. Everything just is. Everything is divine, where you can sit on the side of the mountain and have a cup of coffee and watch the birds for, chirping for 2 hours, or, just getting joy out of the little things and contemplating life and the wonders of life. This life is wonderful. This life is beautiful. This life is a miracle. Just in our being here, it is miracle. It is a miracle. So I have a phone call, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Thank you for watching.